Imagine this: 7,000 desperate fortune seekers flooding into a remote mountain valley in New Mexico, tearing apart every creek bed and ravine, chasing rumors of gold so pure it could make a man rich overnight. Within 2 years, they'd built an entire city from nothing, complete with hotels, saloons, newspapers, and the territory's very first incorporated government. But what happens when the gold that built a town also attracts killers, con men, and psychopaths? Can a community survive when its foundation is nothing but greed and glittering metal? Today, we're exploring Elizabethtown, or Etown as the miners called it, where fortunes were made and lost, where justice came at the end of a rope, and where one of the Old West's most gruesome serial killers operated freely. By the end, you'll understand why Etown's incredible riches couldn't save it from complete collapse. Welcome to Southwest Desert, where adventure meets the arid beauty of the American Southwest. Join us as we explore the rugged landscapes, uncover hidden historical gems, and dive deep into the lost gold legends and gold mining history of this iconic region. Please leave a like or comment. This is very helpful. Let's journey together into the heart of the Southwest Desert. Our story begins in 1866, when a prospector discovered gold along Willow Creek in the Moreno Valley of northern New Mexico. Word spread like wildfire, and thousands of hopeful miners, calling themselves Argonauts after the legendary Greek heroes who sought the Golden Fleece, converged on this remote location. These weren't cautious investors. These were desperate men who'd heard the cry of gold and dropped everything to chase the dream. What made this discovery extraordinary was its scope. Within a year, prospectors found gold in literally every creek and gulch around Baldy Mountain. The entire Moreno Valley transformed into a frenzied landscape of mining claims and constant activity. This was an El Dorado, a genuine bonanza promising unlimited wealth. By 1868, John Moore and several partners established a proper town site, naming it Elizabethtown after Moore's daughter. Within months, Etown became the first incorporated town in New Mexico territory. By 1869, just 3 years after gold was discovered, it became the first county seat of newly formed Colfax County. A frontier mining camp had transformed into a legitimate political center faster than anyone thought possible. But gold mining requires water, lots of it. Investors from Fort Union and Las Vegas hired Captain N.S. Davis, a United States Army engineer, to solve this challenge. His solution was audacious: divert water from the Red River miles away across difficult terrain. The result was the Moreno Water and Mining Company and construction of the Big Ditch, an engineering marvel for its time. Between May and November of 1868, up to 420 men worked to build an aqueduct spanning over 40 miles. The project cost $300,000, astronomical for that era. Workers suspended sections from sheer cliff walls, bridged arroyos, and built a massive trestle 2,300 feet long and 79 feet high just to carry water across a single gap. Despite this enormous investment and remarkable construction, the Big Ditch never delivered as promised. Evaporation and seepage meant it fell short of its goals. Still, it provided enough water to keep the goldfields operational, and that's what mattered to the miners. By March 1868, Etown had about 100 buildings. Moore erected both the first house and first store. But the real explosion came in 1869, when the population supported 5 stores, 7 saloons, 2 hotels, 3 dance halls, and a drugstore. That year, the Lantern newspaper launched, proving this was a genuine community. 7,000 people called Etown home at its peak, larger than most Western settlements. Streets bustled with miners spending gold dust on whiskey and entertainment. Merchants grew wealthy, supplying constant streams of newcomers. Everything seemed golden. But gold attracts more than honest prospectors. It draws killers and predators. Joseph Antonio Herberger started as a vigilante, one of the self-appointed lawmen who captured and executed murderer Pony O'Neill in spring 1868. They hanged O'Neill and riddled his body with bullets. But something changed in Herberger that day, unlocking something dark within him. Months later, in a saloon dispute over a whiskey bill, Herberger beat Captain Kiefer to death with stove wood. His next victim was saloon-keeper Greeley, shot twice over petty jealousy. Herberger spent 2.5 years in Santa Fe Penitentiary, but the damage to Etown's reputation was done. Then there was Wall Henderson, whose story shows how self-defense could spiral into notoriety. In 1869, when claim jumpers tried stealing Henderson's gold-bearing property, one attacked him with a shovel. Henderson shot and killed the man, was tried for murder, and acquitted. But back in Etown, the dead man's friends relentlessly harassed him. When Ned O'Hara threatened to smash Henderson's skull with a rock, Henderson shot him too. Though O'Hara survived, Henderson couldn't escape his guilt. He drank heavily, became violent, joined a gang of desperados, and eventually killed saloon-keeper Joseph Stinson. Despite probably being justified under frontier standards, Henderson became infamous, proof that even legitimate self-defense could destroy a man in gold country. But the most horrifying story involves Charles Kennedy. Kennedy operated a traveler's rest between Elizabethtown and Taos, a seemingly legitimate business catering to prospectors and merchants. But travelers who stopped there had a disturbing habit of disappearing. Several people checked in and were never heard from again. The truth emerged when Kennedy's terrified wife fled to Etown reporting he'd murdered their baby. Officers arrested Kennedy while others searched the property. What they found was nightmarish: partially charred human bones burning in the fireplace, and 2 complete skeletons buried beneath the house. Kennedy had been murdering travelers for who knows how long, probably robbing them of their gold. When rumors spread that Kennedy's lawyer might secure his freedom, an enraged mob seized him, threw a rope around his neck, and dragged him through the streets until he strangled to death. It was brutal, extrajudicial justice, but in a town built on gold and violence, perhaps inevitable. Despite the violence, Etown thrived through the late 1860s. Gold continued pouring from the hills. Then 1871 arrived, and the easily accessible gold ran out. Placer deposits were exhausted. The remaining gold required expensive operations individual prospectors couldn't afford. People left. Buildings were torn down. Within months, Etown's population crashed from 7,000 to barely 100. The town entered semi-desertion, slumbering quietly for years. But around 1900, advances in mining technology created a second gold rush. The Oro Dredging Company, led by H.J. Reiling, invested in massive equipment. They built a dam, constructed a large boat, and hauled incredibly heavy dredging machinery 55 miles from the railroad. The boilers alone weighed 21,000 pounds and required 2 weeks to transport. In August 1901, they launched their $100,000 dredge, Eleanor, which could process 4,000 cubic yards of dirt daily, operating around the clock. This was industrial-scale extraction, and it was profitable. Etown entered a new prosperity phase. Businesses reopened. People returned. Then, in September 1903, fire broke out in Remsburg's store. The flames spread rapidly through the wooden buildings. Nearly everything burned. Only Herman Frohlich's store escaped destruction. The losses were catastrophic, and Etown never recovered. Although mining continued until World War I, the glory days had ended. The population dwindled. Vandals destroyed the Mutz Hotel and Catholic Church. In 1956, the old schoolhouse was sold for salvage. Today, only shabby remnants remain: half a dozen weathered buildings and a cemetery. The post office that opened in 1868 closed in 1931, and even the most durable structures are disappearing. So what's the answer to our opening question? Can a community built entirely on gold survive? Etown's story suggests no, at least not long term. The gold that drew 7,000 people to a remote mountain valley also attracted violence and instability. The massive infrastructure investments, like the $300,000 ditch, couldn't overcome the fundamental problem. Once the gold was gone, so was everything else. The brief revival with the Eleanor dredge proved technology could extend a gold town's life, but even that ended when fire destroyed the community. Elizabethtown was never about building something permanent. It was about extraction, pulling wealth from the ground and moving on. The miners, merchants, and even the killers were chasing the same dream: strike it rich and get out. Nobody planned for the day when the gold would end. The real legacy of Etown isn't measured in extracted gold or buildings that once stood. It's measured in what remains: a cemetery marking where people lived and died, a handful of decaying structures proving this place was real, and a story reminding us that foundations built on glittering metal will always crumble, no matter how bright they shine at first. Thanks for joining us on this journey into Etown's golden past. Until next time, remember, not all that glitters stays gold forever. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe for more great content. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. See you in the next video.